In a way, we're not our past, you know? We're not here to dictate who we were is who we are now. So that's what Homme de Renaissance is for. It's for us to, all of us, to see life in that lens and want to actually grow and not be stagnant, you know? Don't be stagnant in your life just because you've experienced certain things. And like, the victim mindset is not the greatest mindset, for sure. And I was definitely in that mindset a lot. Went to get a drink here today. Fruit sauvage. Berry. Okay, yes. 0 sugar. So I'm drinking this right now. I've been sick for the past week, 2 weeks almost. I wasn't able to do much. I was home and sleeping most of the time. And now it's allergy season. So it's getting pretty bad. I'm gonna have a hard time with this vlog, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I wanted to talk about 5 things I wish I knew as a teenager. So I think for this, I'm probably gonna have to go for a serious walk, because a lot of stuff looking back, and like the only reason why I'm looking back is to reflect on the things I've learned, not to look back to reminisce what could have been. The goal here for me is to find, doing this, I had to find 5 things that encompasses what I've learned and how I became a better person for myself. And there's 5 things that I actually want to talk about. So I'm going to be talking about the first thing will be about how pain is fuel and not a life sentence. Number 1. Number 2, you control your emotional state. Number 3 is approval is a trap. Number 4 is how to ask better questions. Number 5 is you're already enough to start. Yeah, so these 5 things, I'm going to go for a walk and talk more in detail about this, because it's very important. Why it's important? Because it also helped me understand and want to do what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking forward to this, and I hope you guys can kind of enjoy this too as well. And yeah, let's start. Let's without further ado, let's go. Let's bring my phone with me, because we can't live without our phones nowadays. Let's see. And I'm one of them. Found a little walkway situation here where I'm going to be able to walk and talk. And I'm going to give you a kind of a where I'm at. I'm going to show you. So this is kind of like the 400 highway on that side there. If you go closer there, you'll see that area. And if you look over here, that's basically where Wonderland is. If you look carefully, you'll see a little bit of Wonderland there. Canada's Wonderland. Maybe I should go for a crazy walk. Let's go see how far I can get. So I'm going to tell you about a time where I felt invisible and left out, and I didn't belong. I grew up in French Guiana. I'm probably going to have a full video about French Guiana, because everybody asks me, what's French Guiana? Lots of people ask me, where is that? Like, I've never heard of that before. Is that like British Guiana? Is that some place that doesn't exist, etc., etc. So British Guiana is where my parents are from. Damn, I'm still gonna walk over here. Let's go seek danger. I'm from French Guiana. French Guiana is a department of France. And there's multiple different departments. I'll probably name a few, but off the top of my head, there's Guadeloupe, Martinique, Ile de Réunion. And also, I don't believe Corsica is a department, but Corsica is also part of France. So France owns a lot of different small countries. French Guiana also has a space program there. I think a European space program, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Growing up in French Guiana, I had lots of different perspectives and a different culture. So from there, I moved to Toronto. We lived in Markham for a bit, and then we lived in North York, Toronto. What can I say? There's a lot of different things there, but like there's a mall called Yorkdale there, and I know a friend of mine. Me and him. We love to go to Yorkdale. So that's my childhood mall, and I used to go there all the time, and I still do up to now. So if you see me at Yorkdale walking around, say hi. Oh, look at that. Forgot which ride this is. I was able to kind of see different perspectives because I was speaking mostly in French. My parents spoke English and French. I love that so much because that's really who I am. Like growing up in that country, coming here, I don't think a lot of people understood French Guiana. I think even in France, when I was in France, being from French Guiana is already rare in France. Like now I'm in Canada. You can't just Google at that time, like what's French Guiana. Now you can, but there's probably every time I meet a new person, they've never heard of French Guiana. Yeah, and I never felt like I belonged in my social group, even in French Guiana sometimes because we were a bit niche. Like we were Guyanese, but we're also French. And then in French Guiana, there wasn't a lot of that. But there wasn't a lot of that. There was a community, which I still keep in touch with as well right now. Growing up in Toronto, I found myself to be talking differently, thinking differently than others. And the level of French that I had at that time, I think I still have it. I believe I still have it as well. It's not perfect because I don't use it every day. But send me to France for not even a month, which I'm probably gonna be doing eventually. I'd love to go there and spend some time. I have friends out there, and I have an uncle out there as well. And just put me there, you'll see. Like I'll adapt right away because it's in my brain. It's right away there, right? So yeah. And then most of the French people that I grew up with here, because I went to a French Catholic school. In elementary school, I was already misunderstood. What I had to do was actually pretend that I was like everybody else and adapt. So right away, I was pleasing everybody. And this is the thing where now I'm learning that I shouldn't be pleasing anyone at all. So I'm at that time and that step in my life where I realized that I'm a big pleaser, serving myself and what my dreams are and what my life is doing. What I want for my life. So that's an experience I've had. For the time I felt left out, I didn't belong. I definitely questioned my worth a lot growing up because I was in an environment that didn't value who I was or knew who I was in the first place. Of course, I'm talking about kids grew up in Toronto. They know what they know, and that's what they know, and then that's not their fault, right? So it just taught me a lot going back. Always going back in these moments taught me a lot. And it kind of shaped me in my self-worth in my 20s. So it didn't make me kind of bitter. I don't want to say that I'm bitter about that past. I think it made me stronger because I was able to see what I was isn't who I am now. So it didn't define me at all, but it helped me understand that my environment sometimes, okay, there was an example that I saw. Like if you put, like there was a specific car that you put this specific car in this environment. Let's say if it's in a scrapyard, for example. Like people are not gonna value it. It's like $500. But if you put that same car in a different environment, like an antique shop, for example, right? You know, they'll see, oh, like this car can be refurbished and can be valued at a higher mark, as opposed to a car that's not the same. So that's a good example to look at. In a way, we're not our past. You know, we're not here to dictate who we were is who we are now. So that's what the Renaissance is for. It's for us to, all of us, to see life in that lens and want to actually grow and not be stagnant. You know, don't be stagnant in your life just because you've experienced certain things. And like, the victim mindset is not the greatest mindset, for sure. And I was definitely in that mindset a lot. Or I'll think a certain way because I don't want to change who I am. But there's more pain to not changing who you are. And if you associate enough pain to that, then you're gonna end up wanting to change. I was able to see like the dynamics of other people's lives and other people's relationship. I used that to gather my thoughts and gather my mindset and say, hey, how do I become like the optimal human being or person with the mindset to achieve what I want in life? And I noticed that whenever I had an emotional response to something, it didn't help me in any way or form. So that was a big problem as well. Kind of look back and see, hey, and like that wasn't who I was. That was like anger or fear or whatever kind of emotion I was experiencing at the time. Because there's so much different emotions, you know, we can experience, but really it comes down to like a few different types of emotions that's core and what we're getting out of it, especially if we dig down deep into finding out what it is. So the last thing you want to do is to get emotional about any situation in life. Maybe, you know, you don't look at life as a king or as a magician, you know, as a lover. You're seeing it more as a warrior, like maybe anger, you know. So yeah, you want to be able to not have an emotional reaction to anything that's happening in your life or multiple things happening to your life, you know. And also it's okay to have it, but it's also okay to know that if you're having it multiple times all the time, then it's like you didn't work on yourself enough, you know. And then your environment's gonna project that, and then that's how it is. Like your people are gonna start treating you a certain way because of that, right? Because of it, this guy gets emotional for anything that happens in his life. Especially because I grew up with my mom, my sisters, like, because women are more in tune with their emotions. I saw a lot of that. So whenever I was angry, but whenever I wasn't, I learned to tap into that and have less emotional response to certain things. This is so important, by the way. Very, like, one of the most important things. Anger, anxiety, and fear. And anxiety is a big one because I feel we all have anxiety nowadays with social media and everything. Like it's coming to us a lot. So yeah, so there's ways to kind of shift your state, and it's like you can snap out of it. You know, like it's also where your focus is. You know, if you're gonna focus on how that person's treating you or whatever it is that person has, like, that's their fault, you know, like that's how they are seeing life, you know. And you know, like, you don't need them to apologize to you for whatever it is that's happening in their life or the situation. It could be a person, it could be a situation. Like, what you need to do is, like, you know, learn from that situation, and like, you know how people are going to treat you. So if that person keeps doing the same thing over and over, then what are you going to do? You're going to stay around and be around the same type of people all the time? That's not letting you become or be yourself? No, you're going to move. You're going to make new friends. You're going to make, like hang out with new people. And that's why I understand why my family split, because it's like no common interest. So approval is a trap. So this is a very important one, because I come from this mindset of let me please as much as possible, because my two sisters were born and before me. Of course they were born, but they were born before me, and like I didn't ever wanted to kind of inconvenience my mother in any way or form. So what I did was I kind of blocked out my anything I was thinking about, or whatever the case, any intrusive thoughts I had. I kind of let my mom focus more on my sisters, because I did like the last thing I wanted to do was to be a inconvenience to my mother, especially with the fact that my dad was not around much, because he was around maybe like a few days a month, even in French Guiana. And he also, not to mention that he wasn't around in Canada as much. He'll come maybe like once a year or so, right? So and sometimes he wouldn't come for a few years, right? So it's like it's something that I've noticed. And given that it's Mother's Day, I just passed. I think about these things. I think about how my mother went through what she went through. She's a very strong person, and she, I can learn tons from her, tons from her, and I use that as a kind of like a guiding force as well. I've lost myself so many times in groups or friends groups, so much times, like relationships, and that's why if there's something I don't want to do now, like I'm gonna say no. Like I'm gonna literally say no. And it's funny because usually I'd be like, how do I please other people? How do I try my best to have other people happy too? And that's because I like helping, but I also like what I like, and like it's unfortunately this is my life we're talking about, and just like it's gonna be your life, you want to do something in your life, you shouldn't have someone else tell you how to live your life. Now, okay, if you're a younger person, like you need a guideline. Your parents are definitely in that mindset where they can kind of guide you into the right mindsets, but in general, like when you're an adult, you always have to refer to people who you aspire to be like, and also like, you have to also keep your parents in tune as well, right? So, and sometimes naturally your parents are not gonna have those same values that you want to have in your life. So it's up to you to kind of tell them, or like show them, and this is your path, and you want to pursue this particular path in life. Yeah, so like pretending to be or to do things because other people want you to do it, like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like I made a decision to do things for me, and sometimes up to now I still do things for other people to please others, because I come from a place of servitude, and I'm looking to serve others, and obviously you want it to be mutual, where it serves you as well. When you're changing, when you're becoming a better person, like the old you isn't gonna show up the same way the new you will show up. So like it's like a transitional period. 3. So ask better questions. So there's like a question that you ask yourself often in your head, like all the time, and like when you get to the root of that question, you find out what it is, you start realizing like that question, the question you should be asking is, you should be asking a better, how can I learn more from this opportunity? Like, what is God teaching me, if you believe in God? What is the universe bringing my attention to, And there's always signs, right? There's always things that come back to you and like bring you grounded and say, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. And when you have those signs, you either ignore it or you take that and you say, you know what? Okay, So this is one of my signs. Let's see where it goes with it. Let's see where we can go with this. So that's important, to ask better questions. And we could probably dive in down more deep into how to do that. And there's methods to do that. But really, it's not like that serious. It's really like, how can you ask yourself the question that serves you the most? You know, in what situation that's happening with you right now. So there's that. So the last one, it's like, you're already enough to start. So this is super important, because look what I'm doing right now. I'm videoing myself walking around in the forest, you know, like a grateful Steve walking around in the forest, you know, and talking about me, my experiences in life, and what I want to talk about, you know. So that's a tough one, because not everybody can do that. And the thing is, you think you're not enough. And I think we all are enough. Just pick up the camera and start, you know. And right now, let's face it, you know, I'm learning. I'm figuring out what works, what doesn't work for me. But what I'm really doing is I'm documenting me talking into the camera, so I can get better at doing this. I can get more comfortable. So yeah, you are enough. You're more than enough. How you doing? You're more than enough, you know. You're not the person that's gonna be like, hey, I don't think I could do this. Like, if you're that person, then good. Like, that's you, but that's not you, actually. Like, that's not who you are. You want to start something, like, don't let anybody, and that mean like your friends, your family, like anybody in your life, tell you can't do something, you know. Look at The Pursuit of Happiness. That movie is like literally the that lesson, you know. He tells his kid, Will Smith tells his son, like, don't let anybody what you can and can't do. I don't remember the exact quote, but that was the feeling of that moment. So I highly recommend you guys watch that film if you're not inspired by, you know, these 5 lessons that I've experienced in my life and how I want to take it in the future. So, and I think you're going to get more of me like this. You're going to get more of Steven talking into the camera, talking about his experience, talking about what he wants the universe to see him do. So it costs me nothing to be myself. Literally nothing. And it costs you nothing to be yourself, right? Especially if you're in an environment where you're not growing. That's why I created this playlist, is for us to grow. All of us deserve growth. All of us deserve, you know, experiencing that human need, you know, going back to that, the 6 human needs, that, you know, 6 human needs. But really, we want to experience growth and contribution. You can only contribute to a high level if you grow a lot, right? So this is how I'm. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you like what I'm doing here, don't hesitate. Subscribe. You know, I'm here to help you guys out and give you more experiences like this and chat more about my life and how I can help you grow even more. Yeah. So, see you. Ciao.